All PayGlobal users must have a user profile and a security profile, which determines their level of access to all areas of PayGlobal. In this video, we will look at the security module within PayGlobal, including how to reset a password, reset fail count, transaction view options, and security profiles. The user profile code, also known as the logon ID, uniquely identifies each user during login and can be used for things such as preventing users from approving their own timesheets. It determines a user's access to areas, including entry to user-defined fields, as well as specific sections of Transaction View and Daily View, specifying whether they have permissions to view or modify these sections. Double-click on a user profile code. Here, user profiles associate a user with a security profile to determine access to PayGlobal down to tab page level, and whether a user logs on and sees the PayGlobal tree or workflow, which only shows information relevant to the user. In PayGlobal, you can set an external email address to use as the default for sending reports to an email address. This will add the address in the From field of the email sent. On the Logon Details tab, you can assign an expiry date to a user profile, such as a temporary PayGlobal user, to coincide with the end of the user's employment. Prevent users from changing or confirming their own timesheets on the T&A tab. And set screensaver timeouts or login timeouts from the Login Details tab. If Supervisor is ticked, there are additional functions that they can complete. They can add or edit user profiles, security profiles, and user-defined fields, view reports in the inbox generated by others, model an entity record or a single field within a record, and eject users from the system. If Report Operator is ticked, the user can add reports to a report group, or remove them, add or delete report groups, and edit report definitions. Refer to the help file for more information on the fields of the user profile. You will need access to security to reset a user's PayGlobal password. Users can reset their own passwords when logged in by going to Tools and selecting Change Passwords. To reset another user's password, go to Administration, Security, and User Profiles. Next, open the profile of the user requiring a password reset. Click the Login Details tab and click Edit. Then, click Set Password. Enter the new password twice and click OK. Next, ensure the Must Change Password is ticked. Click Save and Close. The user's password is now reset. A user has 3 attempts to log into PayGlobal before they are locked out. If this occurs, the fail count will need to be reset and the password reset using the steps covered earlier. To reset the fail count, open the user profile, click the Login Details tab, and click Edit. Next, change the fail count to 0, and then click Save and Close. The user will now be able to log in using their password. In Company Settings, where the Unused Login Expires After field is set to a value other than 0 days, users are required to log in within that specified period. To access this field, go to Modify Company Settings, click Settings, and click the Security tab. In this example, the Unused Login Expires After field is set to 30 days. So, if a user had not logged in within the last 30 days, the system would lock their login. Another user with security access would need to reset the last login field on the user profile. To reset this date, go to Administration, Security, and User Profiles, and click on the user profile that needs resetting. Click the Login Details tab, and click Edit. Then, click the Reset button next to the user last logged in field. Finally, click Save and Close. The message on screen advises that there's no employee code attached to this user profile. Click Yes to save. In the user profile record, you can assign what users can see and do in Transaction View and Daily View if you're licensed for T&A, rostering and/or payroll. To edit the options, open the user profile and click the Daily View tab. Here, you can edit what users can or cannot do in Daily View. For example, you can change time band access level to view or edit. You can change transaction level access to edit, process, view, or none. Additionally, there is clock access level and fixed resource requirements and other settings. Edit these as required and then click Save and Close. Click the Transaction View tab to edit the sequence access level from Edit or View. You can set the permanent access level to Edit, View, or No Access. Finally, you can set the Leave Request access level to Edit, View, or No Access. When you log into PayGlobal, the access rights or security profile associated with your logon ID determines what you can see in the PayGlobal tree. Security profiles determine which parts of PayGlobal users can access and the actions that they can perform. If a user does not normally require access to a specific part of PayGlobal, their security profile can hide that part of the software for the user. For example, a payroll clerk would not normally need access to human resources information, so you could use a security profile to hide all the HR-related information from them. Please note, incorrect security profiles can seriously affect database integrity and employee confidentiality. If you are not confident about setting up security profiles, please contact support for assistance before making any changes. Once any security changes are made, the user must log out and log back in for them to take effect. Let's look at security profiles and how you can edit them. We'll use the training profile for this example. Click Edit and then Employees. Here you can see the access level is set to edit. Additionally, you can see that there's a default query and a security query attached to this record. Security queries limit the records displayed in tables. If a security query is set up in the default query field on the security profile, the user can deactivate the query when going to the table. If a security query is set up in the security query field, the user will only have access to the records matching the query, and they cannot deactivate it. A security query can be attached to any table or makeup table within PayGlobal. On the employee table, the access level is set to edit, and the tabs under the employee, you can see the selected options. This means the employee has read and write access because they have edit selected. The black square on the Details Dates tab indicates that a user can view the record but cannot edit it. Where nothing is selected against the OHS tabs, the user has no access to the OHS tabs on the employee record. Now, let's look at payroll on the tree. The access level on the payroll table is set to View. When we click on Process Pay, we can see the access level is also set to Edit. As the main folder payroll is view only, you cannot edit any of the tables or run any of the processes, like Process Pay, the Single Touch Payroll Manager tool, Payday Filing for New Zealand, or anything underneath the payroll folder. All other options are set to Read Only, like Bank Branches table, even though they have edit level access on the bank branches. If we click Self-Service on the tree, we can see the access level is set to None. This means a user will not see this in their menu, and they will not see any of the options underneath. Let's log on as a user that has the security profile that we were just looking at. From the Employees screen, you can see all the employees with the F period code. At the bottom of the screen, you can see that there's a query active for EMPFNT. The user has access to deactivate this query, which means they can see all the employees in F period, but will not see any other period code. Now, let's open the employee record, click Payroll and/or Leave, and then click the Leave Request Settings tab. Then, click Edit, and then right-click. You can see the user only has view access to this record. Clicking on HR from the side menu, the OHS module is not displayed because they do not have access to it. Now, if we click the payroll tree and open the Bank Branches tab, you will see that the user doesn't have access to add, model, or delete a record. They can only view the record. Finally, if we double-click on Process Pay, you will see nothing loads as the user has view-only access on this whole payroll folder. Now, let's look at the Makeup Table access. In PayGlobal, Makeup Tables are records that are attached to other records. For example, under Employee Detail, Payroll, you have Employee Super Funds. Employee Super Funds are attached to the Employees table. If users are required to have access to add, edit, or delete a record on a Makeup Table, they must have edit access for that table. For example, if a user needs to add employee superannuation records, they must have edit access on the Employee Table Payroll Super tab. Go to Administration, Security and Security Profiles. Open the Security Profile code and click Edit. Click Employees and under Tabs, locate Payroll Superannuation. It's ticked, which means users have access. The user also needs access to the Makeup Table. Located under Employee Details, Payroll and Employee Super Funds. If the user has view access on this table, they will not be able to add, edit, or delete any records on the Employee Details Super tab. Now, let's switch to an employee who has logged on using this profile. Open the employee record, click Payroll and click Payroll again, and click the Superannuation tab. When the user edits the record and right-clicks, they do not have access to add, record, delete, or edit. The user can only view the records that are located here. This is the same as if we went to Employee Details, Payroll and Employee Super Funds. There is also no access. To save documents to any tables within PayGlobal, a user must have a security profile with edit access to both the document view and the folder, including the folders above. For example, this security profile has edit access on Document View. When you click on the Document Folders tab, you can see the employee has edit access to documents, but they have no access to all the folders except Pay Advices. This means that they can only access the Pay Advices folder to post documents to.